Bubsy 3D, one of the worst video games ever made, is not only back in an all-new collection featuring a remastered version with better controls, but also with an upcoming sequel called Bubsy 4D. Now, Bubsy returning was no surprise to me. They've tried to reanimate this dead gaming mascot time and time again, most notably 2017 when Bubsy got 2 new games that felt nothing like a Bubsy game. Also, they were just painfully average, so who cares. But this is different. Bubsy 4D seems to be the biggest leap the series has ever taken. In the trailer, we obviously got a lot of jokes poking fun at Bubsy 3D, but we also got some surprisingly really fun 3D, or I guess 4D gameplay, and an all-new design for Bubsy. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw this trailer, I was starting to think it was gonna be a VR game. The character models look a bit like that of a VTuber, and the name Bubsy 4D made it sound like a jump into a new dimension. That wasn't until I realized it was just a name spin on Bubsy 3D. With that aside, Bubsy 4D is pretty big news for the Bubsy franchise. This is the first 3D Bubsy game in over 30 years, and by the looks of it, the first good one. Obviously, we don't have much we know about the core gameplay, but based on what we saw, it's a 3D platformer with a very expressive rubber hose cartoony art style. Bubsy running, jumping, and even rolling look all very nice. On top of all this, the game seems to have a good bit of customization. Bubsy has many costumes you can choose from, including a retro costume that lets you play as a Bubsy 3D model, which is great. I love when 3D platformers pay respects to where it all started. I just wish Donkey Kong Bonanza would do the same, but that's besides the point. To kind of put it into perspective how much better of a return this is for Bubsy than his last failed run back in 2017, I want to quickly go over the games we received back then. Bubsy the Woolies Strike Back was infamously Bubsy's first big new return. It was the first Bubsy game in over 20 years, and unfortunately it was just kind of average. It was less than an hour long and had maybe less than 10 levels. The gameplay itself was just a copy and paste of another game called The Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams, a 2.5D platformer with pretty flat and generic level design solely focused on collecting a ton of stuff for no reason. Then after that, 2 years later in 2019, we got Bubsy Paws on Fire. This game saw another character redesign for Bubsy, but it was also the first big return of Bubsy's sidecast, which was pretty cool. Unfortunately, just like with Woolies Strike Back, Paws on Fire would just be another copy and paste game, this time based on the Auto Runner series Bit Trip. These two games were fine enough low-budget detours, but Bubsy 4D looks to be a lot more ambitious, and even though we haven't seen a lot from the game, it already shows a lot of promise. It has an expressive art style, fun controls, enhanced customization, exciting boss fights, and hopefully quippy voice acting as usual. This may be a sequel to one of the worst games ever made, but it all depends on how you look at it. I like to think of it more as a correction. This is a sequel to Bubsy's greatest flop, and it's also the game that will see Bubsy's biggest return ever. If good enough, this game could possibly make Bubsy the icon he's always strived to be, up there with the big three, Mario, Pac-Man, and Sonic. We're gonna have to get him past Mega Man first.